You know, everything we own, from the phone in your hand to the food on your table, took an incredible journey to get to you. And a massive part of that journey plays out in the wild, organized chaos of a modern shipping port. We're talking about a landscape of steel containers just stretching for miles.
And when you look at it, it really is a giant puzzle, isn't it? You've got millions of these steel boxes arriving, they need to be stored, and then they have to be loaded onto trucks or trains with absolute pinpoint precision 24/7. So how in the world do you solve that puzzle? Well, the solution is actually pretty elegant and absolutely gigantic. All right, let's get into it. The real hero of this story, the machine that solves this incredible logistics puzzle, is what you could call the yard's agile giant.
Say hello to the Rubber-Tired Gantry crane, or RTG for short. And you know, the name really tells you everything you need to know. Rubber-tired, that means it's mobile, it can move. Gantry, that's the big bridge-like structure overhead. Its whole purpose in life is to be the master of efficiency and flexibility in the super cramped space of a container yard.
So, how does this massive piece of machinery actually get the job done? Come on, let's take a closer look at how it all works.
It really all comes down to four basic movements. First, mobility. Its huge rubber tires can actually turn a full 90 degrees. This lets it shuffle sideways down those narrow aisles, kind of like the wheels on your office chair. It's amazing. Second, you got the lift. A super powerful electric motor and winch can hoist containers that weigh, tens of thousands of pounds. Third, horizontal movement. There's a trolley that zips back and forth along that top beam to get the container in exactly the right spot. And finally, control. A really sophisticated electrical system keeps everything in sync, using smart tech to stop the container from swinging around.
But hey, this isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. These cranes have really evolved over time to fit different ports and different needs. Let's look at a couple of key ways they're different.
So first up, how are they powered? The classic models, the old workhorses, they run on diesel-electric systems. But just like with cars, hybrid tech is here now. They use things like regenerative braking to capture energy and get more efficient. But the future? Well, the future is electric. A lot of new RTGs are fully electric. They either plug right into the port's power grid, or they run on these massive battery packs. And for the ports, this is a huge deal. We're talking way lower emissions and, believe it or not, much quieter operation.
And the other huge difference? It's who or what is actually in the driver's seat. For decades, you had a highly skilled operator sitting way up high in a little control cabin looking down on the yard. But now we're seeing the rise of the ARTG. That's the Automated Rubber-Tired Gantry crane. These can be driven by someone in a remote control center, or they can run completely on their own, guided by the port's central computer system. This isn't just a small upgrade, it's a massive leap toward a supply chain that's faster and more predictable.
Okay, so we've got the mechanics and the different types down. Now let's put it all together and see how these things perform in the daily grind, the real work that keeps our world moving. If these cranes have a superpower, it's this. They are masters of using space. They can stack standard shipping containers up to 7 tiers high. 7? Just picture that. That's taller than a 5-story building, and it's made of solid steel boxes. In a port where every square foot of space is gold, being able to go vertical like that is everything.
And these cranes are always busy. They're constantly loading and unloading, moving containers from trucks to the stacks and back again. As we saw, that stacking is just crucial for maximizing space. They also do what's called transshipment, which is basically just shuffling containers around to get them ready for the next leg of their journey. At the end of the day, they're the master organizers, keeping the whole yard running like a well-oiled machine. And every single second they save on one of these tasks, well, that gets multiplied by millions of containers a year, and it directly affects the speed and the cost of everything you buy.
Now, of course, when you're slinging around this much weight with this much power, you absolutely cannot leave anything to chance. The reliability of global trade literally depends on these machines working perfectly every single time. And that brings us to the really critical topic of safety and testing.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. Before one of these cranes even thinks about lifting a commercial container, it has to go through an absolutely brutal series of tests to make sure it's safe, it's reliable, and it performs exactly the way it's supposed to.
So what does that look like? Well, load testing is a huge one. They don't just test it with its maximum rated weight, they test it with an overload to make sure its structure can handle the stress. They run tests on every single movement, every function. They check all the safety systems, from the emergency stop buttons to the anti-collision sensors. They have to perfectly calibrate that amazing 90-degree steering. And then, throughout its entire life, it's constantly being inspected. It's that non-stop vigilance that prevents accidents and keeps all of our stuff flowing around the world.
So the next time you see a photo of a busy port, look closer. Look for these giants moving gracefully between the stacks of containers. They really are the unsung, agile heroes of global trade. The incredible machines that solve that massive logistical puzzle day in and day out.
And that really brings us to a final thought for the future. We've seen the rise of the automated RTG. So you have to wonder, as this technology gets smarter, more connected, how long will it be until that operator's cabin, perched so high above the yard, is just empty, a relic of a bygone era? It's a question that is absolutely going to reshape the ports of tomorrow.